And welcome back to another episode of the Screen Addicts podcast. As always, I am one of your hosts, Chris. The Bing is gone, Viegas.
I am Gory Steven Sosa.
And the Movie-Man Marsh, Jerimie, is back.
He's back!
The return of the king.
Man, this is unprecedented.
It's amazing. I've
Man,
missed
it's been
your
a long
face.
time. It's been a really long time. How long has it been, Chris? It's been over. It has
Over
to
a
be
year?
probably more than all three of us together.
Yeah?
I think that this has to be.
Yeah, I've been at CSI now 2.5 years.
Holy shit! So it's been two and a half years
damn.
since all three of us. Because I know, and since you obtained that new position, that we've done stuff together, like a couple of one-offs,
Yeah.
and then obviously me and Chris. But yeah, all three. It's been over 2.5 years. That's insane.
Damn.
That's crazy.
Jerimie, but we'll have to say, man, it is good to have you back. It feels like we are complete again, my friend.
The heart is pumping. It's beating. We have life again.
We're about to cross over 2 billion streams on this one episode.
Just like the good old days. It reminds me of that reel that I keep sharing with different taglines on it from The Hangover, where they're like, "We're back, baby. We are back. We're back." That's kind of what it reminds me of.
It is. I mean, if we could be a movie scene, that's what it would be.
You know, I think also, I think it should just be said that we don't know if this is a permanent thing. It might be. I don't know. We'll have to work out the logistics of it. But basically, we had to bring Jerimie on because, again, Chris, I want to give you credit. Kudos for withstanding this long month of horror-themed topics. And we couldn't think of a better one to close out the month with than bringing in the originator of the Gore Score himself.
The Gore Score.
Jerimie's Gore
absolutely.
Score will be dripping all over this podcast. Sounds gross.
Oh, it is gross. But man, it's been a fun month. You know, obviously we've talked about this isn't my niche per se, but man, it's been fun exploring new movies, new things to watch. With all of the guests that we've had on this week, from Erica to the Dead Body Bathtub to my friend Alexi, man, it has been so fun, and I can't wait for next year. I mean,
Yeah.
I think this is something that we should definitely revisit every year, as the whole month of horror and gore and spooky, because man, there isn't anything. No ending for topics on this. We could dive deep into a lot of things, as you did with the Dead Body Bathtub. Opened my eyes to a whole new world with that one. So
Quite an
it's
education
awesome.
for you, wasn't it?
It has been, and you know, it all caps off with this last episode, and you know, all of our guests have been great, but to welcome back the Movie-Man Marsh has to be the best one, man. I'm so glad you're here, dude.
Good to be here.
It's as
And in
eloquent
true
as ever.
Jerimie
almost.
fashion.
It's as eloquent as ever.
That's right.
What a motor mouth he's become in his absence, huh, Chris?
I know.
I'm telling you.
It's sad.
Oh, but you know, before we hop into everything, we are going to throw a little curveball for this episode, and we're going to start off with headlines, because there's one headline that I'm going to have to excuse Jerimie from while I talk about it. But the headlines. Well, Steven, we're going to go into headlines. Okay. There's one headline I have to talk about, and then we can move on if Steven has any others. But the actor Matthew Perry, better known as Chandler Bing from the sitcom Friends, has passed away. What day was it? Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
And He was 54, and he died of an apparent drowning. And man, I've never been one to really be sad at celebrity deaths. It's always not fun and bad news when you hear a celebrity that has passed away, especially one that us as screen addicts really enjoy, or we really love their body of work. But man, this one hit me just different. It is totally different, and our generation, our age group, grew up with these with Friends and the sitcom, and I know we've talked about at length about Friends, and man, it's just I read something today that said more or less we kind of grew up with these guys. That group and that show kind of helped us through our young adulthood, because they were going through the same thing. And that's what we've always said, is that show was so good because we could relate to it so much, and we just grown. They were like family. They were like our other cousins that we would just kind of live through them and stuff like that. And man, it was this news. I was like, oh man. When somebody told me, I was like, nah. You see all those memes all the time of certain people dying. I'm like, nah, this is bullshit. And then after I got confirmed, I was like, dude, this is sad. I literally cried. I shed tears for a man that I've never met. And yes, that is weird to me, but I couldn't help it, man. He was such a beloved character of mine. I loved his that character specifically, Chandler Bing. But beyond Friends, the more I've read about him, if you've ever read his book, the struggles that he has been through with addiction and alcoholism and everything, even during the show. And he has he overcame a bunch of that. And he was helping other people. He started a sobriety house for men, to go and help them get clean. And he was quoted saying, if anybody had ever come up to him and said, hey, I need help with this, he would never say no. And that just goes to show you that this guy, Matthew Perry, is just somebody that just had a huge heart, cared about people, and loved to help people and loved to make people laugh. And it's a damn shame that he had to go so early.
You were the first person that I had texted when I found out, because I don't know a bigger Friends fan, and I was genuinely shocked when I saw that, because like you said, that association to the character, it's starting to get to a point where, and I mean, he was young too. He was 54, mm-hmm. So it was a tragic accident. So it's not something like where he aged out and that was just his time. But mm-hmm. I think when you hit the nail on the head when you talk about this association to these characters that we grew up watching, the familiarity there, because we had talked about Suzanne Summers dying the other day, mm-hmm. or on another episode. I mean, while it's sad, we didn't really have that effective connection to that particular celebrity like we do this one. And it's just it was crazy to see that, and you think, oh, it's a hoax, it's not real. And right. No, but yeah, it was 100% real. And apparently I was reading up, he had he drowned in his jacuzzi.
Yeah, his hot tub. Yep.
And so I guess there have been a couple of factors, because they didn't find any paraphernalia on his person. So it's not like he mm-hmm. was on a binge or he was high or anything like that. Apparently the body shouldn't sit in a hot tub for more than an hour. I mean, I think that's the max, because you basically turn it into a fever. And when you have a fever, you can have a heart attack. And essentially that's what happened. He got overheated, he had a heart attack, and then he was having the heart attack and he drowned in his jacuzzi, which is just awful. Like, I would hate to drown. I'd hate to burn alive, and I'd hate to drown. It's such a horrible situation. But yeah, like I said, you were the first person that I had texted because I was like, oh shit, I got to do a wellness check on Chris. Forget Perry's friends and family. I'm gonna check on my friend.
I'm definitely gonna need some betterhelp.com after this one, man.
Yeah, that's pretty good. But so, Jerimie, how did Matthew Perry's death affect you personally, sir?
Yeah.
That's about right.
I'm not really a Friends fan, so yeah.
He's like, I just found out when you told me.
I just found out when we read headlines
about it. It sucks. He was too damn young, and it sucks. He shouldn't have died, and he died. And it sucks.
You know, it's funny because I was thinking about some of his movies too, and when you look at some of the movies that the Friends cast were in, because they were all doing movies like in the late '90s, the early aughts, like they were getting cast in all these movies, and some of them were just taking all kinds of just random ass roles, and when I think about
was offered
exactly, and so whenever I think about something that like at the time, because I know Aniston went on to have a pretty prominent career. She definitely had the most prominent and well-respected career as far as, you know, being a film actress. And her movies went on to gross a lot of money, but it was still in that wheel of time too, where she was picking movies that weren't typically the best for her. You know, she was doing like The Object of My Affection, Picture Perfect, you know, stuff like that that wasn't really connecting the way that it did in the future. But when I look at the filmography of these Friends characters, I honestly think that Matthew Perry had the best ones, because Fools Rush In with Salma Hayek, where he meets and marries Salma Hayek, that was funny. And, you know, Three to Tango, where he's with Neve Campbell, so obviously I'm biased to that movie. But even so, that movie was funny. And what was the other one that he did? He did The Whole Nine Yards.
The Whole 9 Yards.
The Whole 9 Yards with Bruce Willis. That movie's legit funny. Like, that was a really good movie. The sequel, The Whole 10 Yards, is kind of a disaster. You know, they shouldn't have made it because they were just cashing in on the huge success of the first one. But yeah, I was just thinking about movies like that, and I said, man, he had a good run there of movies. But it was just sad because he never had anything post Friends that really stuck either. You know, I know he had tried a couple of shows like Mr. Sunshine, where he was running the like stadium arena stuff like that, and then that didn't take, and he just, you know, he tried that Odd Couple reboot on CBS, which I actually thought was kind of funny, but it didn't really have legs. And I just feel bad because in that case, I think that was something else that was detrimental to his mental health, was the fact that everybody else had something. Like, everybody else was doing something, and for more or less, they were thriving in their new endeavors, except him. And that was kind of sad. And I don't know, but yeah, that was the only headline that I had this week, because I felt like that's like the only one. Like, anything else aside from that, it's just kind of minimal. Five Nights at Freddy's got #1 at the box office. Let's talk about that. And also streamed on Peacock
at the same time.
Which that's insane to me, to take over the #1 spot at the box office and still be a streamer at the same time.
Yeah, dude, and get this though. I mean, if you want to talk about it, it made $75 million in its opening weekend.
Good Lord.
And that is insane. Like, I don't know what it is about Universal and Peacock, because when Halloween 2018 came out, it was simultaneously released, and it still made a lot of money. And the Peacock Universal tandem that they have here just works so well together. And because Five Nights at Freddy's was a huge streamer for Peacock, it's one of its biggest debuts since that first Halloween movie. And not only that, but yeah, $75 million at the box office. I thought, damn, that's crazy. I haven't seen it yet. I'm gonna wait on Connor to watch it because he played the games. Like, I'm not familiar with the games. This is where we really date ourselves. And but I've never played. I saw him play it, and he was kind of like freaked out by it. And I was like, ooh, that is kind of creepy. But I think that. I think, obviously, Jerimie, you probably prefer Nicolas Cage's Willy's Wonderland over Friday. But as
I mean, who would have thought some scary ass Chuck E. Cheese characters were going to be popular like this.
Icons of horror.
Right.
30 years later.
And they were popularized by YouTubers.
That's true.
Yeah.
But
And some of the YouTubers have a cameo in the damn movie.
of course they do. It's all synchronicity, man. That's probably why it blew up so much. Man, the YouTube viewership is insane. I need to get more of our stuff on there.
No joke.
But yeah, as far as headlines, I mean, if y'all had anything else, that's all I really had. So,
Nope. Jerimie, anything?
No,
I mean, 2
nothing
years
I
of
know
headlines, you don't got nothing?
Well, nothing that I would write down and hang on to.
he gets
Okay,
into
we're
his
good then.
he gets into his life story. He's like, "Well, January of 2020. What did you do during COVID, Jerimie?" Actually, let's not get into it.
Yeah, let's not get into that. All right, so since we're flipping the script, we're going to go ahead and do our recently watched. I guess I'll go first, and then I'll let y'all two decide who wants to go, because my list is short, very short, because I've been super busy. Last couple of weeks of football, so I don't have much time going on. So it's been basically my reality TV show watches. Big Brother is coming to a close soon. Survivor's getting good.
Oh yeah.
Survivor's good. What do you? And I know we haven't talked about it, Steven. What do you think about these 90-minute episodes, man?
I love them. I thought they would be too long, but it's like when I had said, when they do those special 2-hour episodes, they just seem to go by so much faster. And they've added a lot to it, like the intro again, like the full cast intro to every episode. Like it just, to have all that stuff back is just, it just makes it pure Survivor again, and I love it. They just go by so fast. We'll watch them when I get home from trivia, so it's usually pretty late. And I thought, oh man, they're an hour and a half. We're not gonna make it. Somebody's falling asleep. No, we still we'll charge through and watch them all. But I'm really enjoying this season so far.
Yeah, and I think we'll save it for a later on down the road, a full discussion of the season, because it is a little bit different than games past. So we'll dive deep into it later on, but Survivor, and then that's and football. That's pretty much it.
Did you finish the challenge?
I did finish the challenge.
Yeah, that was good.
I was very, very happy with the winners.
Yes,
I was excited about those. If you haven't seen it yet, I won't spoil it. I'll give it another week.
Fair enough.
Before I'll spoil it for anybody that's watching the challenge, because I know our friend Richard, he just started it.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if he listens to the show, but I'm saving it for you, Rich. I'm going to wait till you're done, my friend.
You've got 1 week, because I was pleasantly pleased, and I'm ready to spoil it.
But yeah, man, that's about it, man. I wish I could have dove into some more Italian giallo, but I didn't have time.
You didn't have time, or you were too scared to?
Yes.
Fair enough.
Yes. I lied. Okay, I did lie. I watched the New York City Ripper.
Oh, right. Okay. And your thoughts?
And here's my thoughts. It's a good movie. It's not bad. If you're into that genre, it is really good. If you're not so much into that genre like me, the one thing, and I texted this to Steven, I said, man, these old directors just may have been hard up to see some naked women, because there is a lot of unnecessary nakedness in this movie, and that says a lot coming from me.
I was about to say, Mr. 100 Girls over here.
Problem with that.
But you know, it didn't, to me, it didn't drive the story. I mean, but it is what it is. That's the way they made this film. The film is actually really good. To me, you take that aspect out of it, and it's a very decent movie. Dead Body, my friends, you got me on one. The New York City Ripper. If you could just take the nakedness out of it, I'll be really good with it. But since it's in there, I'm okay with it.
Chris is a new man. I can't believe this. But I agree. Anytime that like there's nudity just to show nudity, I'm like, all right, like a couple of scenes here and there, fine. But then when it becomes like a repetitive aspect of the film, you're like, all right, like what's the story? Like I need the story. Like I need it to progress a little bit more. And I totally get that. Well, I'll go next if you don't have anything else, and so we could finish on the Movie-Man Marsh. So I actually watched a couple of movies. My sister Kelly had recommended this movie called Cursed Friends on Paramount Plus, and Cursed Friends is like a horror comedy, and it stars Emily Osment and is it Nicole Byers? I think it's Nicole Byers and Guillermo from What We Do in the Shadows, and it is a funny movie. And basically the movie opens up back in time. It's like in the 90s. They're playing MASH. You remember when we used to play MASH? Mansion, apartment, shack, home.
Is that little paper?
No. That was the little well, I guess it was kind of like that too. Yeah, it's the same thing.
Okay.
And basically what they do is like they had an actual game of it, like an actual like almost like a coloring book type of a thing. So they filled out all of their sheets. And basically that book gets cursed. So in the future, all the stuff starts to happen in really bad ways from that MASH book. And I thought, damn, this is really funny. And everything that happens is really funny. Like one of the girls says she's going to marry Joey Fatone because he was her favorite. He's her favorite. So it was 20 years ago. Sorry, 20 years ago, not 30. And then Joey Fatone shows up at like the subway that she works. It was a really funny movie. And of course there's like people are getting killed around them and they're trying to figure out this mystery. I thought it was really funny. It has a really good cast, and I highly recommend Cursed Friends. It was like a raunchy R-rated comedy too, so it's like American Pie raunch. So it's not like a kid's movie by any means. Like it's a hard R movie, and I was pleasantly surprised by how funny that one was.
Where's that streaming?
It's on Paramount Plus.
Paramount Plus.
Yeah, it's a Comedy Central original film too. So I thought, I saw the Comedy Central logo on the poster of it, right? And I said, oh man, is that going to be good? When has Comedy Central ever made any original stuff? But yeah, I watched it. Thoroughly enjoyed it.
Park movie.
Well, I mean, that was distributed for Paramount Pictures. You know, that's a little bit different. That's like a national release. Like, who's ever even heard of Cursed Friends? But
I did just now.
Yeah, exactly. Aside from this podcast, and but that kind of in line with that, I watched that new film on Prime, Totally Killer, because I had heard a lot about that movie, and it stars Kernan Shipka, who plays Sabrina in the new Netflix series, and basically it's the time travel slasher flick where she goes back to the 80s to try and figure out who this serial killer was back, the Sweet 16 killer back in the day, and because the killer comes back in present day, so she somehow ends up in this time machine, goes back in time to try and solve the murder. I thought that was actually really good too. It was funny. It's a hard R as well. Like I like how they're not like playing with kid gloves with these types of movies. Like they're going for it. They said, you know what? If it's going to be a slasher, it's going to be like Scream level slasher. Because whenever the Sweet 16 killer kills people, man, he's slicing and dicing. Like his name's the Sweet 16 killer because he targets teenagers and he stabs them 16 times. So it's like
nice. It's
super, gory in that sense. But the movie was actually really funny as well. Like there's a lot of good comedy in it. I thought that the ending was a little bit of a misstep in terms of not so much of a disappointment. I kind of saw the twist a little bit ahead of time, but I don't think it diminished the entire movie. I thought the entire movie was a lot better than the ending. But again, the ending didn't ruin anything. But I do recommend Totally Killer, which is airing on Prime. It's a Prime Video original. And Chris, I watched a movie that was on your top 10 list, finally. And that was Day Shift with Jamie Foxx.
Yeah, buddy.
I can't believe I let it pass this whole I completely forgot about it. I was just scrolling through Netflix. I'm like, I feel like watching a vampire movie because Sonia and I watched The Lost Boys the night before for like the billionth time. And I was like, I'm in a vampire mood. Like, what was it? And I knew that there were two. I was like, oh, Vampires in the Bronx. I didn't see that one. So I was going to watch that or Day Shift. I'm like, oh my God. I totally forgot about Day Shift with Jamie Foxx. And so I remembered it was on your top 10 list of favorite movies of that year. So I said, you know what? I'm going to fire it up. Dude, that movie is awesome.
It's good,
It
right?
is really good. I was surprised. I was like, oh, God. Chris, like, what is it? And I almost texted you to say, oh, dude, I'm finally watching Day Shift, but I wanted to save it for the pod. But
heck yeah,
it was, the action in that movie was like the stunt work, the choreography of the fight. Jerimie, you've got to see Day Shift, man. You'll love it. It's funny too, because well, what's that punk Dave Franco? Can't stand this punk. Married Allison Brie, and I've never recovered from it. But even he's funny in this movie, man. He plays like an auditor because there's this like vampire committee, this vampire organization that hires, I guess it's like a what is the word I'm looking for? The Jimmy Hoffa, a union. It's like a union set up to protect vampire hunters by giving them like money, pay, dental and medical insurance and all that stuff. Like, it's really clever in that regard. And Dave Franco plays an auditor who has to go and like monitor Jamie Foxx because he's trying to get back into that particular union. And it's just like, it ends up being a great buddy cop movie. Like, it has all the traditional formulas of a buddy cop comedy. And I was like, damn, this is really funny. This is really good. Snoop Dogg's in it. For what reason?
The best character in that movie, man.
And for what reason? Who cares? Because he was so funny in it. And he was badass too, man. Snoop was getting like his hands dirty. But yeah, I and Megan Good plays his ex-wife. Always liked her. Dude, all around, that was a really good movie. I was impressed.
Surprised.
Yeah, I was a bit surprised. I thought it would be pretty decent because Jamie Foxx doesn't really attach himself to stuff that isn't great unless like Stealth or something. But even I like that stupid movie. So yeah, and then I watched these two next ones, and I'll close on these. This is a new director that I've discovered named Damien Ruga. And he is a Argentinian director, and he created these two movies. One is called Terrified, which is currently streaming on Shudder, and this is a bizarre, twisted ghost story. It's insane. Like this person who, like a fortune teller, works with a cop who also works with a priest to figure out what's going on in this neighborhood block because there's people getting brutally murdered. Someone's keeping a corpse of a dead body in their house, and it's like sending out the spirit, and it's just terrorizing the neighborhood. Such a great movie. The shock factor of it was insane, but I highly recommend Terrified. Well, the big thing that came out was When Evil Lurks. Like, this is a movie that's been on my radar because people were talking about how brutal it was and how shocking and visceral some of the imagery and the violence was in this movie. So we watched it. It's on Shudder. It's a Shudder original. It's also dubbed. It's Argentinian, and it's called When Evil Lurks. Dude, this movie is about these two brothers that live out in the country because they're trying to get away from these demons. Like, these demons possess people in a way that it's so minimal, but then they do these like completely brutal and heinous acts, like out of nowhere. And that's what's so shocking about it. So these acts of violence occur when the demons are attacking, and they can go in animals, they can go in goats, they can go in people. Like, the demon can transfer its soul into anything, and it'll try and kill you. And the twist on this one is that you can't kill the demon, because if you kill, they call them, what do they call them? Not broken, they call them rottens. They don't call them zombies or dead people. When someone's possessed by this particular demon, they call them a rotten. They call it kind of like Jerimie right there, but they call them a rotten. So whenever someone finds a rotten, if they kill it, the demon will either infect you or someone around you to kill you. And it's insane, dude. It's so good though. And I guarantee you there's multiple sequences in that movie that will just make your jaw drop. Like, me and Sonny, we've seen everything, man. And there were two particular scenes our jaws dropped. We were gasping at this stuff, man. It was so good. But yeah, if you like horror, if you like demon possession stuff, even zombie flicks, like When Evil Lurks, it's currently on Shudder or AMC Plus. Highly, highly recommend you watch that one. So, enough of what I've watched. The Movie-Man Marsh, Mr. Rome. Please, what have you been watching?
Well, since I've been gone for 2.5 years, there's no point in listing everything. So, how about just from the last few days.
Fair enough.
Let's see here. I'll start with a Blu-ray I recently bought, and I really dig it. Wes Anderson's new movie, Asteroid City. Some people don't like it. A lot of people love it. I'm one that loves it. It is quirky. It is dry. It is Wes Anderson.
Yeah, I agree.
And Jeff Goldblum's cameo is awesome. And just recently, Steven, I watched Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1.
Yes!
Damn, that thing's long.
Oh, I thought you were going to be like, damn, it was great. You're like, damn, it's long.
Oh, it's good. Yeah. I'm not going to say it's great because it doesn't even have an ending.
Yeah, that was rough. I loved it.
That's why it's a part 1.
Right? You should have known.
You didn't see that coming?
Yes, I saw it coming, but damn. For nearly 3 hours, at least do something.
Yeah.
Besides having a mission for a key.
Man, I loved that one, though. I thought the opening... Didn't the opening feel like Hunt for Red October or something?
Oh, yeah. It was so Hunt
good.
for Red October.
Yeah.
I was like, did Tom watch Hunt for Red October before he made this movie? What the hell?
You know he did. That's awesome. So okay, let me ask you. So what did you think of the inclusion of Haley Atwell's character? Because our friend Ray, I talk in length about, he cannot stand that character. And personally, I can't really either. I don't understand like how many times she's betrayed the group, and yet, spoilers, like at the end, he offers her a position with their team, and I'm like, dude, what? She's betrayed you like 4 times in this movie with no remorse and no like justification at some points where she's just like, or she doesn't even feel guilty about it. She's just like, no, I betrayed you and I'm gonna do it again. So I don't know. I was just wondering what you thought, and of course,
it's what it is. Hell, that movie's so long and so dense with so much shit going on. After it's over, you're just like, what the fuck did I just watch? That was a cool jump that Tom just did, but other than that, what did I just watch?
I don't think it was that deep, bro. I thought it was great.
There was just a lot of dense shit in it. And it was like going from this to that and hopping over here, doing this, doing that. And,
literally.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And then we end on a train just like part 1.
I think they stepped up the train sequence because you didn't like that when it's like dangling.
That train sequence was badass.
Yeah,
that was good.
Okay, well, would you recommend Dead Reckoning?
Yes,
okay.
I would, but not in the theater. Don't go to the theater and see it.
Well, I don't think you can anymore.
Exactly. Do something where you can hit pause and step away for a while.
I can't wait to see when you watch Killers of the Flower Moon.
Oh my God.
Are you going to go to the theaters to see that?
Yes, he is.
No.
Okay. Guess not.
You can't pause
America
it there.
isn't offering any built-in intermissions like those UK theaters were.
I saw that, and Scorsese got pissed about that. So did Paramount. Like, they were mad that they were offering...
Paramount and Apple sent them notices saying, you better stop this and start showing it like it was intended.
Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, I mean, at 3.5 hours, like, I'm sure a couple people have to take a week.
The intermission was only 6 minutes.
Yeah, that sounds about right. But what a hassle that would be, man. Because, like, at least when you have an intermission at a theatrical performance, like a play, you know when you're walking in to, like, be very quiet. People won't be quiet at the movie theater coming back into it. I don't know. That seemed kind of weird. But sorry. So what else have you watched?
Yeah. Anyway. I also watched Denzel's Equalizer 3.
Of course you did.
Of course I did. And, you know, it was all right. it wasn't the Man on Fire reunion one would think it would be with Dakota Fanning in it, but it was what it was.
Yeah.
Antoine Fuqua doing Antoine Fuqua things.
Okay.
And finally, since it's Halloween season and everything, I watched Saw X.
Ooh.
I thought it was pretty fucking boring in places.
You're kidding me. You didn't like it?
Oh,
Wow.
that middle
It's a hot
part.
take, people.
It is.
That middle part was so damn boring. That thing is nearly 2 hours long. It shouldn't be nearly 2 hours long.
Yeah. It is one of the longest Saw movies, that's for sure.
And since it takes place in between 2 and 3, having John Kramer look as old as he is, it just, you can't really suspend that disbelief and say, yeah, this is going into that. And that dude, he's on the verge of death already. He should already be dead.
You know, that kind of... You remember when Anthony Hopkins came back and did Red Dragon? And we were like, and Red Dragon's supposed to be the prequel to Silence of the Lambs, but then he looks like 50 years older in that movie. And you're like, how is he supposed to be in this right now when he's supposed to be younger? But they didn't even care.
That was way before they could de-age anybody.
Oh, you know they definitely would have. I mean, I guess Saw, that franchise doesn't really specialize in big budget special effects.
Money for that.
Man, I'm really surprised by that. So overall, you didn't really care for the movie, or
it was fine. It had that last group kill thing he had. That was cool.
Yeah,
that was really fucking cool.
Mm-hmm.
But all the kills leading up to that were spread out so far apart in between boring ass pieces of just exposition you really didn't need.
But see, that's what this Saw movie is different about. It's like giving you more of a story. See, it's not catering to your bloodthirsty needs like the previous one does.
When you go to a Saw movie, there are people that just they've been trained for 9 movies now. You're going to see torture porn and you're going to leave feeling shitty about yourself. And in this one, no. You just was kind of glad it was over.
You're like, I didn't feel shitty enough. This movie didn't make me feel bad. It's a flop.
I felt happy. That's bullshit.
Well, like, how did you feel, Chris? You literally watched all 9 of them in a week.
I did, but like again, I haven't seen X, but I mean, I'm kind of with Jerimie a little bit on this. If it's not up to par as far as kills and amount of kills, I guess you go in expecting that and you don't get that, you could be let down.
I don't know what you're talking. There were plenty of kills, and some of them were downright gruesome. So I don't know what you're talking.
Yeah, some of them were gruesome as hell, but there weren't enough of them.
I need to check a kill count on Saw movies.
Having to pull out a chunk of his brain, yeah, that was cool, but okay. And the lady cutting her leg off, that was fun.
That was cool. Yeah. Well, that is a hot take indeed.
Right.
You're the first I thought, and here I was hyping it up to Jerimie. I was like, "Oh, dude, you're gonna love it. It's like Logan of the Saw franchise."
No.
Wow.
Hell, I still like Saw 3 better.
That's your favorite one, really?
Probably of all of them, yeah. That's probably my favorite one.
Which one's your favorite one? Not seeing the new one, Chris. Would you say is your favorite?
I think we talked about it. I think it was 4.
Did. Oh yeah, that's right. No, I thought it was the head trap or something like that.
Where the lasers?
Oh, that's right.
That's right.
I thought we said 3 on that. It seems like we've been talking about Saw for a whole month.
Forever. I know. My fault.
That was
it's
like
not your fault.
5 or 6.
They
or
blend
something.
together, dude. I cannot remember. I cannot remember. I haven't seen
It's
all
like
of
the
them in a long
Resident
time.
Evil series. One's just like the rest.
Oh, dude, after 2, like I can't make a clear distinction of the Resident Evil movies, man. Especially like Final Chapter, Retribution, Afterlife. Dude, those are literally the same movie to me. I cannot remember. I can't even remember what the last one was called with Mila Jovovich. What was it like? It's not Retribution. Is it Retribution?
It might be Retribution.
Oh my god, I don't even remember, man. I honestly don't remember.
I don't care.
But yeah, that's the whole thing. But all right.
But yeah,
Cool,
that's all I got.
Oh, you got.
That does it for the recently watched. I guess we will head straight into our main topic. And our main topic tonight, in honor of the King's return, is our top 3 goriest movies that we can think of, or seen, or favorites, or however you want to word it. But we're going for the gore tonight, and we will definitely be using that Jerimie Gore Score. As you can already tell, I mean, the bar has to be set quite high for Jerimie on this Gore Score. So, I guess we've been doing our guests first. And Jerimie is 2 years out, so you are kind of a guest.
Glorified guest.
So Jerimie, we'll let you start this off, my friend.
All right. Number 3. I will go with an Eli Roth movie from several years ago that he really wanted to make. The Green Inferno. It's his version of Cannibal Holocaust. And if any of you have seen the Cannibal Holocaust, it is a twisted ass movie. And The Green Inferno is no different. The Green Inferno takes place in a Brazilian jungle, and students go there. I don't know what the hell they're trying to do. They're trying to do something, and they get kidnapped by the local tribe, and the local tribe starts eating them. And it's disgusting, and you get to see all of it. You get to see how they prepare the meal, how they eat the meal, how they kill
my food videos.
I was like,
Exactly.
cool. It's right up Chris's alley.
Yes.
You sold Chris.
You're preparing people to
Human.
eat. And it's a wonderful time. And luckily one survives. Just one.
Only one, though.
Just one.
There's always one.
And there's always the one. The final girl always lives. And that's just how that goes. And yeah, she's the final girl, and she lives, and she's horrified for the rest of her life.
Yeah.
You would think.
She will not have a normal life forever. She should definitely call BetterHelp.
She would need better help for years.
She would probably be vegetarian as well.
And she would turn to a vegan immediately.
Yeah.
You know, I haven't seen that movie in a really long time, and I think that I should go back and watch it. I remember he had a hard time getting that thing produced. Like, he was having a difficult time obtaining, like, budgets for it because he was running into a situation where he hadn't made any big hits, and this was almost a passion project for him, and he finally got it off the ground. I mean, look how long it took Thanksgiving to come out, man. Like,
yeah.
And, you know, Eli Roth is definitely a new era specialist in the terms of gore and violence in films, and I think that that's a pretty good pick. I'm surprised he didn't pick something else just in case it's not on somebody else's list, but I'm sure we'll talk about it at length. But yeah, The Green Inferno was pretty good, and Cannibal Holocaust, man, that's definitely an honorable mention of mine too, because shit, that movie was just insane. And a lot of people, they arrested the filmmaker of that movie because they thought it was a snuff film. They thought, what happened to these kids? They're really, and the director Ruggiero, he even personally wanted them not to go to the premiere because he wanted to put in their minds that they really died out there making this movie.
Wow.
And so when he shows up to the premiere, they had police there ready to arrest him because they had this whole thing. They thought it was a snuff film. There's like literal animal brutality in it. Like they rip off a tortoise's shell in that movie. They show everything. It's disgusting. You're like, this is brutal, man. And so there's like real animal torturing in that movie, and the tribesmen, like how they filmed it, it just looked it's haunting how scary it looked.
It's very documentary style.
The cast and crew had to show up to the police office and basically, no, we're here, we're okay. It was a stunt. It was a stunt. And so, but yeah, the Green Inferno, when that movie's your inspiration, you know you're going to be into for some shit. Did you see the Green Inferno, Chris?
No, this is my first time hearing about this movie.
Dude, I think you should watch it. It's pretty good.
Horror month is over.
Yeah,
maybe like next year.
Maybe next October 1st, we'll pencil in the Green Inferno. That's a good pick, though.
All right, cool. I will go. My number 3, and I want to tell you guys that my movies are probably not going to be as gory as you guys, because I mean, Jerimie set the bar pretty damn high with human eating and cannibalism right off the bat, you know? So my number 3 really is pretty much one scene in this movie that is pretty gory to me. A lot of kills, a lot of really cool stunt work. But my number 3 is going back to 2002. With the street fight in Gangs of New York.
Oh, okay.
There's a lot of stabbing and cutting, and you know they show a good amount of it, and there's blood, and there's a good amount of gore in that scene specifically. There is more throughout the movie, but this scene when the rumble goes down, like, people are stabbing and whacking away at people, and it gets pretty gross if you're not a Jerimie. For us normal people, it gets pretty gross, you know. So and also I have to say it's probably one of my favorite movies of all time too.
That is a good movie.
Gangs of New York. Talking about bringing it back to long ass movies. This is a long ass movie, but you know, you get some payoff in it. So that's my number 3.
Dude, I like that pick because it really it establishes the notion that you can have gory movies outside of the realm of horror. Because I have a couple of picks and honorable mentions that aren't even horror movies, and it kind of makes me think of like Braveheart. You know, the battle scene in Braveheart, like pretty much all the battle scenes, like, man, they were getting hacked up in that movie. Yeah. Broadswords were taking off heads, legs. They were impaling people. Like, Braveheart has some brutal medieval warfare. And a lot of those movies like that came after it followed suit, because like Gladiator has a lot of really gory battle sequences, you know, like in the Colosseum and stuff. People are getting impaled, cut in half and stuff like that. So I like how that's also been established that you can have gory movies outside of horror. Because like my number 3 pick isn't a horror movie, it's a sci-fi action movie, and that's RoboCop. Now, growing up, I always...
The director's cut, right?
Yes, especially... Thank you. Thank you. The Verhoeven cut... Okay, Paul Verhoeven, to begin with, is a sick bastard. Like he loves blood and gore and guts and strippers, because he directed Showgirls. But,
there you go.
You know, when he made RoboCop, I remember watching this movie thinking, God, this movie is absolutely brutal. And this man loves a squib. Now, for people that don't know what a squib is, it's something that actors would wear under their clothes, and it was like pockets of like fake blood under their clothes. And someone, either the actor or someone right behind him, would click a button, and it would make the packets like pop. So it would make it look like when they were getting shot, these blood packets would pop off. And if you watch some of the shootings, some of the shots in RoboCop, for example, when Ed 209 shoots that dude in the board meeting, he is exploding everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, God, this is brutal. And then not to mention the fact that Murphy's death, they shoot off his hand, they shoot holes in his head. I'm like, damn, this movie is gorier than any Friday the 13th movie I've ever seen. And not to mention the creme de la creme of that movie when the guy falls into the toxic waste, like sprays on him, and he turns into this weird mutated freak. He literally gets run over with his legs going under the car and the top half of his body going over the car. And it was just like one of the gnarliest, grossest things I'd ever seen in my life. And I'm like, this is an action movie? No way is this compared to Terminator, because, my God, it is so brutal. But again, Verhoeven, he went on and did Total Recall, who has a lot of great squib shots, a lot of violence. And then, of course, I think Starship Troopers... he directed that, and man, some of the violence. I remember when me and Jerimie saw that, we were like, damn, why is this movie rated R? Because they're like fighting bugs. Like, this is silly. Until you watch the movie. Those bugs were ripping people to pieces. And I was like, oh, that's why it's rated R. Okay. No wonder we had to sneak into this one.
Shower.
Well, yeah, and the co-ed shower scene, of course. But man, Verhoeven, there wasn't a movie where he probably didn't want to not use a squib or a blood packet, because RoboCop, man, number 3, one of the goriest movies I've ever seen. Sounds funny to say it until you go and rewatch it, and then you're like, damn.
Watch it.
You're like, oh, okay, yeah, this is pretty bad.
Hey, so I know we've done all the number 3s, but we forgot an important aspect of each pick.
Mm-hmm.
So, Jerimie, your number 3 pick, what Gore score do you give it, my friend?
Oh, well, all mine are 5s.
I was about to say, I think it's safe to say, like, all of them would be 5. If these are the top level of gory movies,
these are all 5s.
They have
they're all 5s.
But that is a good point, because the stage is what, 1 drop to 5 drops. If you get 5 drops of blood on the Jerimie Gore score, man, you're gonna get sick. It's nasty.
So I would, mine is not a 5. I wouldn't think
2 drops.
I'm thinking about 2.5 to 3.
1.5.
But there's still people and there's still blood and it's still gory to me. So there.
Fair enough.
I do get better with my picks, though. Steven, I'm going to surprise you.
I can't wait.
I'm telling you.
You've surprised me all month, man. That's one thing I'm going to miss about this month, was just the surprises.
All right, Steven, you want to go ahead?
Yeah, I'll go ahead.
Start number 2?
My number 2 is a classic movie, and it was released in 1980. And basically, gore is in the title. It's The Wizard of Gore. Now, The Wizard of Gore is like a weird offshoot movie. It's about this magician that has his assistants in some of his traps, some of his things, and people are like, how is he doing that? How is he splitting them in half? How is he doing this? Well, it's because he's really splitting them in half. And there are dismemberments, there's gruesomeness. It's just nonstop gore. I remember Crispin Glover was in a remake of this movie of the same title about 10 years ago, I think. And that one was pretty good, but it's nothing like the original. The Wizard of Gore, I thought it was on Tubi. I think it's safe to say that it was on Tubi. But I have to mention it because it's pretty iconic in the sense that, yes, it does have the title, and just some of the kills in that movie are so nasty and just sick, and I feel like more people should watch it if they like gory movies. And again, gore in the title kind of fits for number 2. So yeah, The Wizard of Gore from 1980, not the remake with Crispin Glover. That one was a little timid in comparison to this one.
I've never seen it. It's a big surprise for y'all.
Yeah, it's not a very well-known movie, I would say. I think that a lot of deep-cut horror fans would probably know what it is, but I don't think a lot of mainstream viewers would really know that right off the bat. And it's definitely one that you find like just floating in the horror section of the video store. Ooh, what's that?
Anywhere to stream it?
I'm not sure. I thought it was on Tubi the last time I checked. But
Tubi is the best.
That's like the safe call, really, because I thought that I saw it on there. I don't know. While y'all are looking, I'll take a look and see. Okay. Or while y'all are giving your picks.
Yeah, I'll go ahead with my number 2.
Oh wait, I'm so sorry. Yep, Tubi.
Dun, dun, dun. Tubi, the best.
Yay,
Telling you.
Wizard of Gore.
With all those weird one-offs, man. These ones that people Jerimie, we have found Tubi has everything.
Oh, they do. Yeah,
Everything's
lots of
scary
odd stuff.
Yeah,
Jerimie, if we had Tubi when we were in high school, we would never have left the house. We were trying to find the nastiest shit, and Hollywood Video was probably like our best bet because their selection was a little bit more gruesome than anywhere else. But man, Tubi, it's like a horror fan's dream to have that.
Oh yeah, and they're always uploading new crappy horror movies.
Yeah, the Ice Cream Man is back.
Anyway, okay, number 2. My number 2. I am going to, believe it's 2008, maybe sooner. Let me look. Anyway, don't matter. My number 2 movie, has an actor that my wife really thinks is a beautiful man, and that is Jay Hernandez. And my number 2 movie is going to be Hostel.
Yes.
Man, those rooms with these torture chambers,
Sure,
more or less, is just fucking gross. Like every room is fucking gross. Like. And oh man, I remember when I first watched this movie, like I'd have to pause on each room so I could like collect myself before moving on because I know there was more shit going down.
Yeah.
And what really got me was the dangly eyeball.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, the eyeball.
Oh my gosh, dude! Like I almost blew chunks.
Where
like
it got clipped.
Like, oh yeah. See,
you're like getting sick right now. Don't barf on this podcast.
But man, talk about one of the goriest movies I personally have ever seen, and it has to be Hostel.
Great pick.
Just gross. Just gross.
Got worse with part 2.
Part 2 is just as bad. You know,
I couldn't even see number 2 because I was so traumatized by number 1.
You know,
part 2 is torturing women. So it's tough to watch.
Yeah, it's pretty rough. Like the bloodbath scene, that's just nasty.
Oh my god,
it is so nasty. You know, tell a quick story. When I saw Hostel, when I was in school in Arlington, right? And I was with a group of people that liked horror movies, so we were all going to go see it. And one of the guys was dating a girl that did not like horror movies at all. Like, she wasn't really too keen on them. And so she was like, yeah, we'll go. And, dude, that eyeball scene, she got sick and threw up.
Yep.
She got up. She was like it was disgusting. I was like, well, that took me right out of the movie because that's gross. And then, so yeah, I can't remember her name, poor girl. But yeah, she literally got sick watching it and had to leave. And I was just, that was pretty rough. But man, that movie, that's why I didn't mention it, because I had a feeling you were going to bring that one up. And that's a good pick, because right in the wave of torture porn with Saw coming out the year before, Hostel was the very next one up. And man, those two movies really legitimized that whole genre of horror and set the standard for it. And oh my God, Hostel is just, it was a brutal movie. And that's another
nasty
movie where it's like the first hour, like with the brothels, like in the hostels, just like having sex. I'm like, all right, let's go. We've seen it enough.
Yeah.
Like that's another example of that, like too much repetition. And I'm just like, all right, let's get to some killing already.
See, but that's the crazy thing too, is like, I looked it up. It came out in 2005. So 2005, I'm still all like, yeah, sex on the TV, do it. Give me more.
Yeah.
And now I'm sure on a rewatch, I'm just like, yeah, no.
It's called
Move
maturing, Chris. You're becoming a man.
But man, like I do remember watching that for the first time. The more I talk about it, and the more I talk about it, the more sick I get. Oh, it's so gross.
Yeah.
Ooh. Anyway, moving on. Jerimie, what is your number 2, man?
Number 2. Let's jump in the time machine and go back to 1991. From the director of the Lord of the Rings trilogy, Peter Jackson. And what else would it be besides his horror masterpiece, Dead Alive? Pretty much, it begins with a rat monkey being taken off Skull Island because he called it Skull Island. And the rat monkey bites dude's mama. Dude's mama turns into zombie, and lots and lots and lots of death occurs, and lots of pink, shitty-looking blood occurs.
Part of the charm, damn it.
Exactly.
Jerimie, I want to say that I'm disappointed that this wasn't your number one, because this would have been my number one, and I knew you were going to pick it. So I was like, I will stand by, let you take Dead Alive. But the fact that it didn't even hit number one is shocking to me. Like, I am absolutely shocked and semi-appalled, because for me personally, like, Dead Alive is still the goriest movie I've ever seen in my life.
It's got some sick fucking shit in it.
I can't wait to hear what your number one is.
Again today.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn, this is fucked up.
It's nasty, bro. Like the dinner scene with their skins flopping off. It's so using glue to put the skin. No, it was nasty. But it's funny. It's a great movie.
And the lawnmower scene at the end. Oh my God, it's so wonderful.
That is just an assault of just gore and carnage, and I absolutely love it. I can't believe that's not number one. Can I take it from my number one? Yeah, I feel like you're disrespecting Dead Alive by putting it at number two.
Number two?
No.
This is crazy.
No.
That's another hot take, Chris, because Dead Alive is the goriest movie ever made. I'll say it right now.
I don't know, man.
That's just what the Rolling Stone had on the front of cover of the disc set.
I thought it said the scariest flick of all time or something. What does it say?
It says the goriest.
Oh, it does? Well, see, there you go. That's crazy.
Well, that was from 91, though.
Oh, okay.
True. All right. I think we're on to number ones, but before then, honorable mentions. Steven, I know you have the list.
I do.
I don't have any because, like, before I'm limited in this aspect. But go ahead, man. What is the
Patriots?
Honorable mentions?
See, I had Demons, the Italian giallo film. That's got some nasty shit in it. Zombie, mentioned Cannibal Holocaust, Starship Troopers. Dude, not for nothing, but the Rambo movie that Sylvester Stallone did in 2008. Bro, that was
the 50 cal.
That was nasty. Yeah, the 50 caliber gun was literally chopping everyone in half. I was like, God, this is gorier than any horror movie you could ever see. He's cutting people's heads off with his blade. He's gutting people like he's Ghostface. That movie is like really nasty. There's a one that you were gonna watch, Jerimie, the Tokyo Gore Police. Man, that's a nasty one right there too. That's pretty good. Reanimator, The Fly are also great gore movies. Pretty much anything by Trauma, especially your favorite Terror Firmer, Chris, is pretty nasty. But yeah, that's all I really have. There's just a lot. Yeah. There's a lot of gory movies out there. Everybody knows.
Let's see here. Both Terrifier movies, of course. Those are just Art the Clown. Oh my God.
There he is. There's your buddy.
We talked too much about him this last month.
There's your boy. Art's back, Chris. He's back for you.
And
he won't go away.
Any Evil Dead movie you can think of.
Yes, Evil Dead. Even the Ash versus the Evil Dead, the series, man. The show is just...
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's something that I should have mentioned I was watching. I caught up with... Or I'm in season 2 of it now, because I remembered watching the first season and just never picked up. But, man, that's really gory. Even the Chucky series, man. These TV series are just... Man, the kills in them are so gory and impressive, but... That's a good one. Even the Evil Dead remakes.
Movies.
Evil Dead remakes are pretty nasty.
They did good with those.
Evil Dead Rise.
The Texas Chainsaw movies.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Oh, and don't forget Rob Zombie, and he does his shitty gore stuff every now and again with House of a Thousand Corpses.
Yeah, that's a good one for you to watch with the kids, Chris.
Yeah, okay. I'm on it.
Actually, with Maddox, he might like it. Actually,
yeah, Maddox. I'm sure.
And do the better follow up to Devil's Rejects.
Yeah, that one's pretty good.
That one, that's the better of the two.
That's actually a quality movie, though. You know,
really
it's different.
It's his best movie. Period.
I'll sign off on that. All right, so we ready to do number ones?
We'll do number ones, and I will start with my number one because my fault for not texting you fellas.
Oh,
my
shit.
list.
Did I just say what it was?
One of y'all did mention it.
Is it Rambo?
No, it is not.
Oh, okay, good.
So I know I had to prepare. Sorry. No, you're good. I knew I had to prepare for this topic. Okay, and I didn't say it in my recently watched, but I'm like, I'm gonna pull some shit out to surprise these guys. And obviously, I'm not gonna surprise y'all, but
we surprised you.
Yeah, my number one is 2008's Tokyo Gore Police.
Holy shit! You've actually seen that?
I watched it this week, so I could be prepared.
Oh my god! I spoiled it. I was about to just make fun of Jerimie. Like, we bring the guy back and he fucks your list up. My bad.
It's all good. I didn't send y'all my list, so you didn't know. I was going to try to surprise y'all. I was like, okay, I'm sure not one of these motherfuckers has seen this Japanese crazy shit.
Well, come on, man. It's me and Jerimie. We've been through some. I know. We've been through some dark holes, man. But let me tell you, that doesn't diminish the surprise by any means. Like, I am even more surprised that you've seen that, because I'm going to go back and watch your face whenever I said it. Like, I'm going to check the feed here. And you just look so. I'm like, oh, that's why he looks so sad.
You just put this sad Michael Jordan face on my face.
Okay, so what did you think of it?
Dude, it's brutal.
Yeah.
Fuck,
it's,
man.
It's nasty.
My God. And shout out to Tubi, because that's where I found it.
Yeah, man.
But, oh my gosh, dude. Like, okay. I thought I got sick at Hostel.
Yeah.
This shit. This is my...
Yeah.
Anyway. The girl with the arm that's a sword thing.
Yeah.
And then, she fucking wrecks people. Oh my God, dude. And then the scene where, and it's in the trailer, so I'm not spoiling anything for anybody that hasn't seen Tokyo Gore Police, but where she's like, I have to remember, she either got shot or there's holes, but she's spraying this acid and it's landing on this other person, and it's, oh my God, so fucking gross.
I just cannot believe, I'm still shocked like that you've seen that. That is awesome. That's a great number one to pick up, to finish your list off, because that's on a lot of gore lists and stuff like that. Like, that's a really good movie.
And that's, to be fair, this is where I got it. I did prepare for Jerimie's epic return, and I was like, I'm going to shock the shit out of Jerimie. And I got an applause from Jerimie, so I got what I wanted.
Pretty good. Definitely a 5 drops of blood on that one.
Yes, absolutely. And, I was reading some of the reviews on it, and it's funny because a bunch of people in the reviews are all like, if Verhoeven was Japanese and even fucking crazier, this is what it would be.
Yeah.
And a lot of people like said this is like RoboCop, fucking nasty.
Yeah.
And yes, I definitely can see that. And if you want a bloody good time, go ahead and go to Tubi and watch Tokyo Gore Police. And they have the English dub, so you don't have to read captions if you're not into that. But yeah, that's my number one.
You finished,
Tokyo Gore Police.
You finished strong, Chris. Well, I'll go since Jerimie can finish it. But man, that's a good number one. Well done. Mine is a Taiwanese film, and it's a pretty recent movie that actually came out a couple years ago on Shudder, and I've talked about it quite a bit. But it's the sadness. Now, again, it would be dead alive if someone didn't waste it as number 2 pick. But my number 1 is the sadness. And it was about the movie where this Taiwanese city, I guess it was Taiwan, but they there's a virus going around. And it's almost like the 28 Days Later rage virus. But what it does is like it really enhances you and it makes you want to act out your deepest, desires and just like impulses like anger, rage. It's like almost like a rage virus, and people are getting mauled and brutalized all over the place. And it follows this guy and his girlfriend trying to find a safe haven, just trying to get through all this. And it's just, there's a lot of like men are doing terrible things to women, to other men. It's just nonstop assault on the senses, and it doesn't even really let up until the very end. People can become infected, and you see like a switch in them, like they become angry and they want to like kill you because they're so pissed off. But, and I mean, that's the irony of the sadness. It's just like, but it's on Shudder. I can't really say too much about it because it's such a great movie. And there's a good twist to it too, is like the cause of everything. Like that's a nice little end point, because there's no plans for a sequel. It's a nice beginning and end. It tells the whole story, and in doing so, it presented one of the goriest movies I've ever seen in my life, and it's pretty nasty. And that is the sadness. So, Jerome,
all right,
you're up, sir.
All right, number 1. All right, so we've done this and that in the past. Now let's go to 2010.
He's like the future.
Hatchet. Yes. Hatchet 2. Not Hatchet 1, Hatchet 2.
Okay.
Because Hatchet 2 is, oh my God.
Which one?
2.
Okay.
Not 1, 2.
Damn it.
See,
Chris.
2 picks up pretty much right where 1 left off. And where 1 left off, people were already dead. But now more people go into the swamps of Louisiana and to find the monster Victor Crowley. And what they find is Victor Crowley, and he doesn't like people coming to his swamp. That's his swamp. And he claims it. And he will kill anybody that comes to it in very brutal ways. And probably my favorite kill in Hatchet 2 is when he has that long-ass chainsaw and cuts both those people in half. You see their balls just fall off.
Nothing like testicular decapitation.
Okay. So your favorite kill of all time has to deal with balls.
It's got balls.
Gotcha.
They fall.
You wear them as a necklace.
My necklace.
I will say that Hatchet 2 was definitely brutal and gory. And I mean, they said that's the one where we were talking about, Chris, that set the record for gallons of blood used. And, but come on, man.
They used it them all.
Come on. They're over Dead Alive. Hatchet 2 over Dead Alive? Come on, man.
At least the blood in Hatchet 2 looked more realistic than the pink shit in Dead Alive.
Well, that's fair. I'll give you that.
They just had a lot of access to Pepto-Bismol, okay?
It does.
Shit.
It's so pink. It makes no sense.
Very pink.
It's like, is this the Blob? What's going on here?
When I watched it again today, and he got done with the lawnmower, and it shot, and it looked straight down at the floor, and all that pink blood, I was like, "That's pink."
You know
That's
what the problem
red.
with that was, though, is like back in the day when they were filming, the cameras used for that movie, it showed it as a pretty decent red. When you restore it in HD, like the Blu-ray cut of that movie, oh, it's so bad, man. It just makes it diminishes the quality of what it's supposed to look like. But if you pop in the old VHS tape, you're like, okay, that looks a little bit better. But after all the color restoration, it really messed it up, man. I feel kind of bad.
Oh yeah, the DVD on a 4K TV.
Yeah, that's probably part of the problem. But that's true. Well, I guess, Hatchet 2 is a great movie. I do love that movie.
It is.
Well, Chris, do you have any movies that you're going to watch, from any of our lists this week?
No. Dude, I'm ending my horror with Tokyo Gore Police.
I think that's a good way to stop. That's a good one to stop on.
And I do have
probably watch that after we're done here.
Yeah, I feel like watching it now. Yeah.
I do have a cool, interesting fact about Tokyo Gore Police that you can use in your trivia, my friend.
Oh, sure.
That movie was shot and finished in 2 weeks.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
It's impressive.
Nice.
There you go. See, us Asians know how to get shit done.
They do shit quick. They're like Ed
Oh,
Wood.
man. There you go.
Next shot.
Anyway, man, Jerimie, it's great to have you back, my friend. I think you disappointed Steven a little bit.
I was about to say, to hell with this guy. He wasted my number one pick. Who brought him back on?
But that is why we love you here, because you throw the wrench in the plans, my friend. You represent the 1%ers.
That was a chainsaw to the face. What are you talking about?
Oh, man.
But welcome back, Jerry.
Welcome back, for sure. I think that does it for tonight. There is one thing I want to talk about before we sign off, and that is my fellow co-host, Steven. He has started a new show.
Oh,
it's a personal show for him. He's been, I know this show for him has been in the works for a couple of years, I think, somewhere in there.
Toiling around with it, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm gonna let him tell you about it and stuff. But Steven, I wanted to tell you, man, first episode's out.
Well, the teaser's out.
The teaser's
Yeah,
out. The teaser's out.
The new episode should come out pretty soon.
So get ready, my friends. Steven, take it away, man. Let us hear about Real Problems.
Sure. The podcast is called Real Problems. That is REEL Problems, because what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be taking a situation or incident that transpired on the production set of a motion picture, and some of these things could be minimal to like an actor's outburst, actors fighting on stage, on the scenes, on the production, whatever it may be, to an actor losing their life on the set, stunt people losing their lives on the set. Basically, the loss of life is the most extreme thing that has happened. And I was kind of wondering if this would be a show that I could get enough information on. And once I started the initial research, come to find out, man, that there is a lot of things that have happened. And especially in the golden age of cinema, like in the oldies, oh my God, classic cinema, there is just a treasure trove of horrific incidents that have transpired on movies that you wouldn't ever think. And movies like The Wizard of Oz, for example, people don't know that there was a lot of crazy stuff that happened on that movie. And it's such a joyous, wonderful family film. And some of those movies are the ones that I've come to realize have had some pretty terrible stuff happen. But yes, it's called Real Problems, REEL, and we have an Instagram page, but it's currently streaming on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, anywhere you get your podcasts, really. And the teaser's out right now. It's just a quick 30-second trailer. Just like we do when we see movies, we like to see our previews first. Gets you enticed, gets you ready to go. And the new episode, I'll preview right now, it's actually going to be about the death of Brandon Lee on the set of The Crow. And that's a story that all three of us know very fondly about and remember and grew up hearing about that. So it's I figured that'd be a good starting off point, just like really hit the ground running with that. So I'm going to talk about what happened. I'm going to talk about the pre-production issues and what happened after the fallout of that incident and how the movie still managed to be released and all that good stuff, man. I get into some pretty detailed information here, so yeah. But I appreciate the plug.
That's awesome.
I appreciate the plug, sir.
Absolutely. I absolutely know. I know, man. It's been a project on you've been working on for a while, so we definitely want to give you a shout out and get as much traction as we can for you on that thing. And dude, to tell you the truth, the first episode that you just teased about, I'm sure a lot of people have heard it happen, but not a lot of people know in depth of why it happened,
right?
All the details. So it's definitely an interesting listen. I'll definitely be listening myself. So go and, like Steven said, go and subscribe. You can subscribe to it already.
Oh yeah,
because the teaser's out. So go ahead, go subscribe anywhere you listen to podcasts, just like you can do here. With us, the Screen Addicts podcast, wherever you're listening to us, whether it's Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, go ahead, hit that subscribe button so you know when the new episodes drop. Also, since you're there, go ahead and leave us reviews and ratings. Spotify, me and Steven found out that, hey, we got like 13 ratings at 5 stars. It's pretty freaking awesome.
Yeah, I was like, nice.
So thank you for that. So go ahead, leave all those, and then leave a review as well if you can. 5 stars would be great, just like those other 13 people on Spotify.
I didn't know my mom had Spotify.
Mine either. Weird. But it helps us just get seen a little bit more in the podcast searches over there. And then also head over to any of the social media platforms, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, or X. And you can follow us all there. Just search Screen Addicts, look for our cover art, and that shall be us. And then head back over to Facebook and then request to be part of our private group called the Screen Addicts Fanatics. That is where we're most active, dropping trailers and movie news and TV news and all the things. So we'd love to have you over there as one of our fanatics. But I guess that does us for... Oh, no, one more thing. Sorry, guys. If you have any questions, comments, anything at all you'd like to send us, if you want to be a guest on the show, we're pros at having guests on the show now after Horror Month. You can email us at screenaddictspodcast@gmail.com, and we will read anything that's appropriate and not bashing us.
No, we can read that too.
Okay, we'll read that too. But yes, just drop us an email. Again, it's screenaddicts@gmail.com. Other than that, fellas, it's been a pleasure. Jerimie, thanks for coming back, my friend. But as for me, good night.
Adios, amigos.
Good evening.